Welcome to the English edition of Around the Globe. China, the world's next superpower, is also one of the world's most oppressive regimes. A secret manual running to more than 400 pages gives an unprecedented inside view of what is happening in Xinjiang, the province where more than 10 million Uyghur Muslims live. The Chinese Communist Party, as usual, has rejected the existence of such a manual containing detailed instructions to brainwash the people who do not follow the party's campaign against religion. They face repression similar to what the Tibetans face every day. Some of the world's most reputable newspapers like The Guardian and the New York Times have published the China Files, which offer a shocking picture of how the hidden machinery of the state carried out the country's most far-reaching detention campaign after Mao Zedong. The detainees in Xinjiang are given 1-year training. They are never allowed to go home, but of course can use telephone to call their relations and use video phone once a month. There is a warning not to allow any abnormal death, which suggests that sometimes torture and mistreatment cause death in the internment camps. There are multiple layers of security with cells, corridors and floors locked separately and with security check at every corner. The inmates enjoy no privacy, and there is 24-hour surveillance. Inmates who fail are sent for 6 months of more punitive detention. Many former inmates said they did not know why they had been rounded up. Crimes of thought include behavior and acts that would be completely innocuous in most countries, such as keeping a copy of the Quran. The crackdown has been so harsh that a man who told his colleagues at work to pray regularly is jailed for 10 years for spreading ethnic hatred. And the inmates have fixed bed position, fixed queue position, fixed classroom seat, and fixed station during skills work. It is strictly forbidden to change this timetable. A timetable is set for getting up, washing, going to the toilet, housekeeping, eating, studying, sleeping, and closing the doors. They are not allowed to offer their prayers. The manual also lays out a scoring system that rates students for the ideological transformation. Learning Mandarin, that is official dialect of the Chinese, is mandatory. Overall, they are expected to show high levels of compliance, to obey management earnestly, study and truly transform themselves. The duration of detention is arbitrary and indefinite. The mandated minimum stay is over a year. It is said that more than 1 million Uyghurs have gone through this kind of trial. Strict secrecy is maintained. The staff is not allowed to tell anybody outside about the conditions of the camps. In response to the publication of Chinese cables, Chinese embassy in London said that the so-called leaked documents are pure fabrication and fake. There is no such documents or orders for the so-called detention camps. The camps are vocational education and training centers established for the Xinjiang people, and the trainees could go home regularly, said the embassy. Diplomats, we know, are people who lie abroad for their countries. The pun is intentional. The power struggle in Libya, invaded and destroyed by the NATO forces, continues to be unabated. Now the fight is between the Government of National Accord, the Tripoli-based system under Faiz al-Sarraj, the Prime Minister, recognized by UN and many Western nations. But on the other side is General Khalifa Haftar, commander of the so-called Libyan National Army, opposed to GNA. The rogue general is supported by Egypt and Saudi Arabia, of course, with the consent of the United States. General Haftar claims to be an inveterate enemy of democracy in the region. Al-Sisi, the Egyptian strongman, and the sheikhs of the Gulf have given money and arms to the general. Senior officials of the US State Department have recently taken steps to talk to the general. The US State Department accuses Russia of sending the unemployed mercenaries to fight with the general. The fight has already killed more than 1,000 people. The Libyan National Army has captured Al-Fil oil field in February. It sees another big oil field. However, the stalemate in the country, destroyed by NATO forces with help and financial support of the Arab autocracies, continues. Diplomats are not known for opening their mouth unless advised by their government. But the Indian Consul General in New York, Sandeep Chakravarti, might be different. An hour-long video of Chakravarti has gone viral for the venom he spewed out against the Kashmiris. While addressing some Kashmiri pundits in the US, he told the audience, most of the American citizens, that they would be able to go back to Kashmir if India followed the Israeli model of illegal settlements on occupied territories. The model, as you know, still leaves wide trail of blood and destruction. However, the Consul General's remarks have attracted wide criticism in the United States, mostly from Kashmiri pundits themselves. Some critics have said that the remarks of the Consul General actually reflect the hidden agenda of the Hindutva regime back home to change the demography of the province. In his address, Mr. Chakravarti also repeated the myth that all the ancestors of the Jews originally lived in the whole of Palestine. The Middle East Eye, the popular online magazine, said that Chakravarti's speech was the latest in the settler colonial policy of BJP regime. The abrogation of Article 370 and 35A is seen by many as a tactic to prepare the ground for settling outsiders in the valley, which is opposed by all the Kashmiris, whether they are Hindu, Sikh, Buddhist or Muslim. However, because of the strong opposition to his speech and the diplomatic fallout, Chakravarti later clarified that his comments were taken out of context. The Indian government refused to comment on the faux pas committed by the Consul General of New York. And as you know, diplomats lie abroad for their countries. Around the Globe is signing off. Thank you for watching.